Hello everyone, good afternoon. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. Before we start, I would like to inform you that this session is being recorded. Let me once again welcome you all to this insightful session on Extending Service Management Beyond IT from Symphony Summit AI. I would like to let you know that we have taken all the necessary precautions to make sure your experience during this session is smooth and flawless. However, in case we come across any technical difficulties, kindly bear with us since most of us are operating out of home networks. As the session progresses, I would urge all the participants to post your questions in the Q&A box, which will be answered by our host towards the end of this session. The agenda for the proposed webinar would be Introduction to Symphony Summit by Mr. Rajashekaran Unikrishnan, Director Marketing, Symphony Summit AI. On a personal front, he is a nature lover and run campaigns on various social relevant topics using digital and social media. Welcome, Mr. Raj. This will be followed by a 45 minutes deep Q&A session by Mr. Rishi Sundaram, Associate Director, Symphony Summit AI. Welcome, Mr. Rishi. We will follow this up with a 10-minute session for the Q&A. Now, I would like to welcome Mr. Rajashekaran to start this session. Over to you, sir.
Tanu, hi Tanu, thanks. Tanu, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thanks, Tanu. Hi everyone, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing well. I really want to thank you for joining this session. I know December is quite an eventful month with lots of activities and planning which you will be doing for your respective functions. I know that it is also time for sort of really looking at and planning an investment for and replacing your legacy tools and IT investment. And it's also time for vacation. I'm also equally excited, but I sincerely want to thank you for joining this session, taking time out from your busy schedule to join this session. Thank you. We will make sure that you have next 1 hour of productive time of discussing and seeing the technology capabilities of various solutions which we have. And with that, I'm going to get started. This webinar has 2 parts. I will be taking about 15 to 20 minutes to sort of really take you through on few concept slides and a few market directions. Then after that, my colleague Rishi will be taking you through on the capabilities of our solutions. And I'm not sure that, how many of you know Symphony Summit AI? I'm sure that you may have heard about Symphony Summit AI. Maybe some of you have a very limited information about Symphony Summit AI. So I'm just going to take about a couple of slides to sort of really give you overview about who we are and the capabilities of our solution. And so if you look at it, Symphony Summit AI is a market-leading artificial intelligence-driven IT and enterprise service management suite with IT service management, enterprise service management, IT asset management, and service automation, and then AI-powered digital agent, which we call it as Synthi, all integrated under one single suite. Symphony Summit AI has been the recipient of Gartner Peer Insights Customer's Choice for the last 3 years in a row. We've been featured in IDC MarketScape as a major player, and we have been winning the CIO Choice recognition for the last 4 years in a row. And we've been the preferred choice of the CIOs across the various markets which we operate. Early this year, Economic Times has positioned us as one of the leading best tech brands in the country. Symphony Summit AI is part of a group company of Symphony AI, which is a $1 billion of investment kept for incubating and building use cases, leveraging artificial intelligence and automation across various businesses and the industries. Summit AI has grown to 250 plus customers in the last few years, and these are some of our reference customers, right from KPMG, Deloitte, EY, and all the leading consulting players are the customers of Summit AI. You will find Toyota, Coca-Cola, Marico, Reserve Bank of India, Toronto Pearson Airport, Bangalore International Airport, and various other customers leverage Summit AI in order to improve the productivity and transform the experience for their employees. Symphony Summit AI has been disrupting and becoming the fast emerging player in the IT management space. And this is a quote from one of the leading analyst firms. We have customers across the globe, right from North America to South America and Middle East, Europe, Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. Of course, the R&D center based in Bangalore. Summit AI has been the most preferred enterprise class ITSM solution. And this is as per the Gartner Peer Insights. Gartner Peer Insights, I'm sure that most of you would be knowing, and it is a user review platforms where CIOs and the technology and the IT decision makers go and review the products based on their personal experience of working with that particular brand. If you really look at across all the categories, right from product capabilities to evaluation, contracting, service and support, integration and deployment, Summit AI has scored far higher and better compared to the next best alternatives in the market. And this is a true testimony of the capabilities of the solution which we have. Summit AI has leadership in many verticals and many markets which we operate. Some of the leading telecommunication players are the Summit AI customers. If you look at the financials industry, there are at least 35 plus BFSI companies leverage Summit AI. When it comes to automobile, right from Maruti, Honda, Bajaj Auto, Royal Enfield, Toyota, all of them leverage Summit AI for transforming the organizational productivity. And now just coming back to the core topic of today's webinar, robust digital experience for employee is the most impactful investment an organization can really make. Let's look at it. The post-pandemic, the pandemic has sort of really divided the business into two different segments. You will find, you can call one segment as the outperformers. What they did is that they've sort of really accelerated the digital transformation and plans and the investment. They reacted in span of few days compared to the weeks to make sure that, okay, they deliver and respond to the market needs better. And they focused on employees, redesigned the entire processes, keeping the digital transformation in mind, and they've sort of really put the competition in the distance. If you really look at the laggards, the other segment, they are actually caught off guard with the crisis. They went into survival mode. They focused on doing the basic lights on set of activities. And the pandemic has actually really divided the business into two different segments as outperformers and as the laggards. If you really look at the digital transformation as being there, and if you look around it, we've all been experiencing and been facing this and probably implementing and driving this in your respective organization. As per Gartner, 70% of the boards report accelerating digital business initiatives in response to COVID-19. 90% of the CIOs and CTOs report greater use of digital channels to reach out to the customers. Go where the customers are there, and that's been the focus. 80% of the CIOs and CTOs report faster rate of new products and new service introduction. If you look at that, okay, there are like many initiatives just going around on the digital transformation. But if you really look at most of this digital transformation initiatives are predominantly customer centric. I'm sure that will be even in your respective organization. The many innovations, the many digital transformation initiatives which you are spearheading, and that would be primarily designed and optimized to make sure that, okay, you deliver the better customer experience and then make sure that, okay, in the digital transformation to provide better service experience for the customers. But what is the strategy for ensuring that the employee first experience? That's essentially the point for discussion today. There is no digital transformation is complete unless it is driven inside outside. And many organizations have realized that the employees are the greatest strength, specifically after the pandemic and specifically after the unprecedented times which we are going through. The organizations are making sure that the employees get better engagement and provide with the tools and technologies to deliver the better productivity. They've redesigned the business processes to make sure that, okay, they are able to sort of really cater to the various needs of the employees, providing collaboration platforms and leveraging technologies like artificial intelligence and automations to provide better employee experience. Let's look at this with another example. Let's take one individual and two personas of the same individual. Probably let's call this individual as Rahul. Rahul as a consumer and Rahul as an employee. Okay, this is somebody like all of us, right? Okay, no, so you as an employee, most of us spend about like 40 to 45% or more time in our work life. And this is like a two persona of an individual. If you really look at Rahul as a consumer, all right, look at the kind of technologies which they interact with it. Okay, when he wants to go to airport, he books Uber or Ola. And when he wants to order his day-to-day groceries, okay, he goes to Big Basket or a Grofers. And the restaurants are typically in our pockets now in the mobile phone. You can order food from any place, anywhere, and they go to Swiggy and Zomato kind of places to do that. And all your purchases are done either using Amazon or Flipkart. What do these platforms deliver? These platforms provide easy access. They are quite intuitive and menu driven. They are predictable. You book and you know that what is the status of it, whether the product is left the warehouse, what time you can expect it, or you can choose that when you want the delivery, where you want the delivery, what time you want the delivery, everything. So it's quite predictable. And there is an updates and alerts, you get it. And then there is clear standard SLA. Okay, that's what sort of really differentiates these technology products. Let's look at same Rahul as an employee. Imagine that Rahul is an employee, wants to probably replace his keyboard, which is broken, or probably just wants to change or upgrade his hard disk. Look at that in our organizations, the process one had to really go through to fulfill that service need of it. I had to go and take approval from the manager, then write an email to the IT support team. And if it is a value about certain thing, you have to go and take a finance approval, HR approval, and various other things. And you have to run from pillar to post to fulfill your service requirements in the organization. And practically, this is what is actually happening in today in most of the enterprises. And we have seen this happening in most of the places and across many markets. So this is where that you need to really transform this current enterprise service needs with a better digital workflow. Create a single service portal, be it for IT function, HR, or finance, admin, facilities, and everything. Create a single service portal and make sure that you create the workflow as the way you do it, or as the way, okay, probably the other consumerized technology solutions like what you see here, they use it. Provide easy access, make it quite intuitive, make it omni-channel, provide multi-tenant, and make that platform more collaborative, flexible, predictable, with clear SLAs and the other things. This is where Summit AI comes into the picture. And this is where we really help the enterprises to deliver consumerized way of delivering the services, even inside the organization. Let me illustrate this with another example. This is one of the use cases which we have. If you really look at that, imagine an employee who joins the organization. Look at that, the various service needs the person will have it. Probably call this individual as maybe Gaurav. Okay, so Gaurav is joining an organization and he has a requirement like that, okay, provision of laptop, which is done by HR, raises the request to the IT department to do that, and create account and email ID, provide building access, And this is okay, even though we work in a hybrid environment, okay, you still need to just provide the building access and the others, provide IT application access. And then various things the employee will have to just deal during his stint in the organization, something like training and providing that, okay, IT resources on request, break fix support, and various needs that person might have to sort of really have it during his stint in the organization. And when the person leaves, the various things, deactivating all the accesses, deallocating the IT resources, transfer of the IT assets and all that stuff. How could you really automate all this stuff? Okay, so this is where Symphony Summit AI comes into the picture. We have some great use cases, and my colleague Rishi will take you through these things and we'll just show the capabilities around it. And this is where that, okay, you can automate this entire journey, employee engagement journey, right from onboarding to offboarding. If you really look at the next generation employee experience, is workplace technology should keep up with the pace of the consumer technology, the way one sort of really experience within their personal life, and provide platform for cross-functional journey, quick and easy access to service anytime, anywhere with omni-channel support, and make sure that, okay, you unlock productivity by replacing manual siloed ways of working. And this can really help deliver more engaged employee, help improve the productivity, and deliver exceptional employee experience for your colleagues. And with that, I will invite Rishi to sort of really showcase the capabilities of the product. If you have any question, please feel free to type in the chat window and we will address all the questions towards the end of it. Rishi?
Yes, Raj, thanks for that, setting the context right for my demo. Thanks for that. And I'm sharing my screen. I've shared my screen. I hope that my screen is visible.
Yes, Rishi, we can see it.
Yeah. So this is primarily what Raj was talking about. How do we bring in the consumer experience to an employee within the organization, as he primarily has got a lot of interface. I'm sure that everybody would be able to differentiate what Raj told, that. So we don't offer the core platform technologies, right? Which is primarily probably an HR MS solution or something, right? What we primarily do in an HRMS or a facilities management system is primarily you manage primarily the transactions, right? So here primarily you manage the interfaces, primarily a kind of query, right? How do I get an answer to my problem, right? So that's where in this particular service management platform extends beyond IT. It is not only that only IT you can deliver IT services to this particular platform that we are showcasing, right? You can go beyond IT, right, by putting it as providing a service portal for HR related queries and requests, or it can be a facilities related request, or it can be financial transaction related request, right? So it can be wide variety, right? It is a multi-tenant capable architecture, so that your a service portal or the consumerization experience is not limited only to IT. It can extend beyond IT. Right? So from an HR standpoint, primarily, let us see that how does Ryan, who's primarily an employee in a particular organization, say Summit, how does he go about in terms of handling or getting his queries answered with related to HR related issues or requests that he has got, right? So of course, he has got primarily, he will have a look at his payslip, right? Probably download a Form 16 from his core HRMS portal or apply leave in that portal, right? So let us see what kind of offerings that the Summit brings in and what kind of touch points that it provides for to make sure that the organization is definitely a better place to work, right? So one is primarily, first of all, Ryan is always presented with a portal interface. Of course, the platform is capable of providing a similar interface in a mobile app, right? So using a mobile app which can be downloaded from Google Play Store or Apple Store, right? The application can be downloaded and the similar experience can be provided to the employee, right? So let us look at Ryan, who's got a query about his leave policy, right? How does primarily his experience pans out with the service portal that we are talking about, right? So here he has got one of the primary options that he has got is primarily Cindy, which is our conversation interface, which primarily acts as the first level of a response to the employee rather than he depending on a human person or an HR executive to respond to him or wait until he responds to him, right? So let us see that Ryan is trying to get an answer about his leave policy, right? He is not going to type in any questions in a specific or a defined or pre-populated format. He's going to just type in leave policy. Cindy primarily will look up primarily what is the relevant response that it can provide. It goes and brings up the response saying that every employee is entitled to 20 days off. It gives a response. So he doesn't have to wait somebody to come back to him or probably write a mail or probably call them, wait in the telephonic queue and other things. So Cindy provides the first level of, and this primarily Cindy can respond based on the training. It can respond in multiple ways to multiple queries based on the user's requirement, right? So he can always come here and look for a search. For example, he wants to primarily look at salary, right? Something related to salary, right? So whenever his salary is not credited, what can be there? Or probably he can look at primarily, if he says that my salary is credited wrongly, right? I can pick up this problem statement and immediately log a ticket. The moment I pick up that, my information is already gathered, right? And the categorization or which team would primarily address this issue is already filled up. By click of a button, right? I'm not typing, I'm not writing long mails, but just by a click of button, I go and log my issue or I request somebody to address my grievance by logging in a ticket, right? So this is something the platform offers. He is also assured of a response, right? What kind of resolution time he can expect, depending on how the organization categorizes the various problem statement the users comes up with, right? So in addition to that, overall, he also has got other primarily requests. Probably he wants to primarily make a request to include a dependent to his company's insurance cover, right? So that is something he's looking for. And as I told you, he can pick up the department. As I told, this is a multi-tenant platform. So using this multi-tenant platform, the request can span to human resource or finance, facilities, anything that primarily the organization wants to primarily offer and take a channelized approach to the employee grievances and requests, right? So here primarily, I'm going to pick up the insurance cover and I want to include the dependent, right? So I pick up a particular catalog and primarily I say that dependent is say Mr. Alan, that is there. I provide a date of birth. That is there. I can do validations and other things that I'm looking for, right? I can say son and you can provide a simple remark saying that insurance cover. He just types in a detailed remark statement, which primarily gets submitted. So once he submits, you can also define the workflow. This can be validated by the reporting manager, right? And probably any other information that he is looking for can be validated, and based on which his request will be processed by the respective HR team. So again, primarily he can go to finance and ready to do the request. He can say that new service request, and he can go to finance tenant or the finance department and make a request, something related to his provident fund, right? So loan against provident fund or whatever, right? PF account transfer status, if at all he is leaving from this organization to another, so he can make a request. So, and this particular form can be completely configurable. So any amount of catalogs that you want primarily can be designed and configured. So which I'll take you through when I change the persona from an end user Ryan to a different person that is there. So this platform provides complete interoperability between departments, and then it provides, as Raj was emphasizing on the consumerized experience, it provides this complete consumerized experience. Or probably he wants to look at some of the HR policies and documents, he can always look at all the policies, right? What is my code of ethics? What is the insurance policy cover? What is my privilege leave policy, right? So what is the employee referral policy? All these documents or policy documents, right, becomes viewable, right? So when it comes to HR, it becomes primarily policy documents. When it is comes to IT as a function, it becomes knowledge articles, right? So you can define, and this is not limited to what we show here. As I told you, it is multi-tenant. Depending on the department, you can bring up policies and other, right? So let's switch over. This is primarily how the user experience pans out overall, so that he has got one service stop or portal, right, where he can get all his grievance and request addressed in a systematic and time-driven fashion with a definitive turnaround times that are available, so that he feels a sense of responsiveness is given to him whenever he raises a grievance, right? So this is something how an overall end user experience pans out when it expands beyond IT, right? I'm sure that in IT you would have used one or the other tools, but this particular platform gives you extends beyond IT, where it can be a multi-tenant platform. It can be a complete employee engagement platform when it comes to HR, finance, facilities, or any other department that you're looking at. Right? So that is something primarily an end user. So when it comes to primarily other aspects of the platform, so one of the key things is primarily the dashboard, right? Today, in today's pandemic, what we have is primarily there are several scenarios that organization wants to check the readiness of the employees. So you can conduct surveys of these employees, and based on which you can assess how many of my employees, based on the data or the feedback form that they filled in, you can have analytical data that is presented to the management, so that the total employees, how many have taken the survey, right? How many are willing to come to office, how many are not willing. So what are their challenges, right? Which are the locations has got the maximum number of responses, right? So who are the people who have already been vaccinated, how many locations, which are the employees or who are exhibiting symptoms, who have recorded their symptoms in the portal. You can define all this. Based on this, you can have a complete dashboard view available. In addition to that, they are also available with executive dashboard on the tickets, right, on the help desk or the grievance request that they have come in, right, from the employees. The executive management can have a complete dashboard view of all the data available in front of them in terms of how many such tickets have come in, how many have been responded, right? What is my response ratio? What is my compliance, right? So that kind of dashboard is completely available for an executive management to have a bird's eye view of what is primarily happening in the my department, or probably an HR head wants to look at the data, or probably a finance head wants to look at the data, they will have this information. So in addition to that, right, from a HR executive standpoint, from a HR scenario for a problem statement that primarily Ryan raised earlier, where he has got a issue related to his salary, right? He can look at primarily the technician or the HR executive who is going to primarily take and start working on this ticket will have a demographic view of about the tickets, or probably primarily the cases that he has to primarily address, so that he can provide response based on the user request. So whatever tickets that are primary, or whatever cases that have been registered under the HR department is available, right? Since it is a multi-tenant, I can always choose my department. If I belong to facilities, right, I can pick up my facilities tickets. Since I'm showcasing HR, I picked up a use case for HR, right? I have picked up HR, and based on which I'm looking at primarily the cases that have come to me, which I request my address. Right? So once I see that, I will know that within my HR team, what are the tickets that are there and what are the tickets that are assigned to me. Right? So when I pick up the tickets, I'll be able to see what are the tickets that are there, as you can see here. I'll be able to primarily, from a technician standpoint, I'll be able to look at and filter specific set of tickets or a specific set of tickets that I want to see, I'll be able to see that. For example, Ryan is the end user. I want to see Ryan tickets. I can pick up the Ryan ticket. Right? So this primarily will be able to provide me that. So when I pick up this, so I will know what Ryan has written primarily. What is primary, a certain HR portal is not working, and he has given some information. So based on the primary, my standard operating procedure, I decide what is primarily my urgency and impact key based on this, and I would assign this ticket to somebody. So based on which the SLA metrics are primarily calculated here, and the technician will be able to provide, and any communication that is of query in nature, right? He can clearly, the HR executive can write a communication from here. He check the URL. Please confirm the URL below is what accessed. So he will be able to primarily communicate without moving from one window to another, or probably he doesn't have to rely on any mail application. So he can write his mail communication to the user and appropriately put the ticket on primarily as resolved, right? And based on which he can provide this some kind of response he can type in, and he can go ahead in terms of submitting and resolving the ticket. So what primarily Ryan has got is primarily he's got his queries addressed and in a time-driven fashion, where primarily the response and resolution SLA, as you can see, there has been no violation in the SLA timelines that have been defined for it. Right? So from a HR executive standpoint, if at all he has to visit this particular user after some time, he can set up a reminder. All those things are completely possible from a HR executive standpoint. So this is primarily would be how an HR technician or a finance technician will be looking at it. So in addition to that, I showed you wide varieties of catalogs that are there, right? I can also create my own catalog type where I can use a form builder option, or probably I will pick up something that is. So for example, I'm going to primarily pick up human resource catalog that is primarily in a design stage, which I'll pick up, and based on which so this is primarily a finance catalog that I'm creating for the employee. Right? So here what I am primarily doing is I'm creating an employee catalog for voluntary employee PF contribution. So there might be individuals who wants to contribute more than the bare minimum PF contribution that the organization deducts. They want to increase that, and based on which I can define a catalog, and I can also define workflows, right? For example, for this particular catalog, right, voluntary PF contribution, I want to bring up a catalog. Right? So here I want to include primarily an approval, right? I say that reporting manager approval. I pick up this. I can also define auto approval in case it is more than 8 hours in the queue, it gets automatically approved. All right. I also include another approval, which is primarily the finance approval. I say head of account. Again, this I don't want to configure any other things. I'll be able to primarily define this for a post. Once primarily the request is placed, it goes through an approval, and then from here it gets completed. So you will be able to primarily define such workflows with ease using the front-end configuration, right? So based on which you can have those approval catalogs coming in, and based on which I can create as many catalogs I want. For example, some of the HR catalogs that we see here is primarily, as we can also integrate in the backend with any of the core enterprise applications, like probably an HRMS like SuccessFactors or a Workday or Adrenaline kind of product, or it can be some kind of backend facilities management solution, or probably a finance solution like an ERP or an procurement system that is there. We can completely integrate in the backend. Right? Some of the catalogs that can be created or that has been created in this demo environment, as you can see here, when it comes to human resources, if the users primarily wants to apply for leave, right, the privilege leave and primarily the other forms of leave that are there. So he can fill this this information on a basic basis, and then whereby this can go and integrate with your payroll management system, and accordingly, once the approval is approved, then it can integrate in the backend with the payroll and upload the leave information about this particular employee, right? So this is primarily there, and of course, he also has got facilities, right? A wide varieties of requests, which includes primarily your vehicle parking tickets that he would like to request, or probably he wants to print a business card, right? Or he wants to primarily enable some pantry services for a team meeting that he is going to organize in the office, right? Any kind of resource movement, or he wants to shift some material within the organization from one place to another, he can primarily make this request, which goes through an approval workflow with all the information, which includes what is the present location, present area. And this particular form is completely configurable. I don't have to primarily rely on standard templates. I can define my own custom templates using my form builder option that is there, right? So when I go to service catalog management, so I can pick up the catalog under finance. Right, this is primarily the catalog that I showed you where I defined the workflow, and this is where I define my data. Right, so this is my basic salary, which again primarily can be brought in from any of your core HRMS or a payroll system, based on which I can bring up these data. So probably if I want any other attachment, probably some kind of salary slip or something. Right, you can design these forms, right? Or probably you want a multi-value drop down, or you want to autofill, right? Probably the username, right? Something of this sort, you will be able to primarily bring in, right? So once you do that, you can define, as you can see, this is how the form stands out, right? How the form looks at. And I have primarily computed value also, right? Which is primarily whenever what should be the PF amount, it will be a computation of my basic and against whatever percentage that I decide to configure. The bare minimum, as we all know, is 12%, and it can go upwards up to 50% or 70%, depending on the employee's choice. Based on that, what would be the detected PF amount will be automatically populated, and based on which I can go and publish this particular catalog. Right? So this is primarily how the catalog options are available for the administrator. This does not concern with any of the employees, but this is primarily an administrator who can create these catalogs, or who is administering this tool is primarily there. So when I go to my request form, I'll be able to see this newly published catalog available under the finance system. So this is primarily how you go about creating the various service catalog as part of the enterprise service management options that the product offers. Right. So, and as I told you, this is primarily again in facilities. You saw various options that can be created. which includes the various catalogs. And these all are again completely configurable. And primarily whether is there any limitation to the number of departments I can create? No, right? As long as you have the desired amount of licenses of technicians or the executives who is going to handle the tickets, you will be able to create as many departments as you want, as many workflows that you would like to configure, you will have completely, and you have various views that are there. And then, of course, you have the complete reporting capabilities that are presented in the tool. With as long as the data is available, you will be able to pull out as much as a report as you want, as you can see here. Right? The various reports that are finally here are available. Right? I can always custom create these dashboards, right, based on your requirement. How do you want to primarily look at the service portal of an HR, how it should look like, or probably something related to if I'm a salesperson inside the organization, right? I want to enabling some marketing activities, right, to promote the business in my region. I can create a marketing services portal based on which I can create the marketing set of documents based on which I want to enable. So many of the organizations in the retail as well as manufacturing have been using this to a quite a large extent. For example, if they want to run a promotional activity in their retail shops, right? So they can primarily request for the retail shops can make a request to this portal, and based on which all the necessary materials and other things can be provided them through a systematic process, right? So it provides complete administration capabilities, right, which includes primarily who are the people who should have access to this portal, right? What are the data that they want to see, right? All these information are completely available based on integration with either Active Directory or any other HRMS tool that you want, and it is multi-domain capable. If your organization is a large conglomerate under which you have several other companies, if you want to define multiple domain integration also, and each of these domains can have their own set of interfaces that can come in. As you can see, the necessary information about the user, all these information are pre-populated using either synchronization with an Active Directory or probably integrating with an HRMS portal, right? So this is something primarily provides as an administrative function, right? So, or probably if you want to integrate this tool with any of your enterprise application where you want to ensure that the flow of information from this tool, right, has to go into your core applications, that also is possible through REST API integration that is available, right? So that is something to have. Right? So it comes with completely user-friendly GUI. You don't have to have a very specialized skill set to organize this or configure this, and based on which you can have the complete tool. And in material of primarily, the users is always primarily have an option to see the status. What are the status of the tickets that is in pending, right? So what are the tickets that he has raised, and what are the tickets current status, who is currently handling this ticket, what is my response time, right? So all these primarily are completely available for the end user, where he doesn't have to pick up a phone or probably reach out to someone, write a mail, another thing. So he can have his status updated in his portal or in his mobile app on what is happening to the request or the grievance that he has raised, right? So you can have specific information that can be populated here, right? And you can also define what kind of information that I need to primarily gather from the end user to look at what are my information that the user needs to provide to get his grievance addressed, right? Probably he wants to primarily have, you don't want category priority work group, but he wants to have a symptom and description, and you want this to be available as first set of information we provided, based on which I can define what is the data that I need to primarily get from an end user to log a grievance, and based on which you will be able to address this in a systematic and timely manner, right? And more importantly, from a dashboard standpoint, you have wide varieties of dashboards. Primarily, this is what you see is an end user, how he sees, and you can also look at an HR executive or a facility executive, what kind of data he will be able to see, right? And that is also can be defined, right? He will know what is the number of tickets or cases that are he needs to handle, what is in his bucket, what is the distribution, what are their priorities. If there is a definitive turnaround time defined for each of the incidents, what is sort of information in terms of the SLA that he's got, and most importantly, and every case that has been resolved by a HR executive or a facilities or a marketing or probably a legal executive, right? You can also have a CSAT that can be generated. The CSAT primarily can be thumbs up, smiley, and based on if the CSAT rating is low, you want to have a moderator to come in and accordingly mitigate that particular bad CSAT. You can always configure that. I can make these CSATs both mandatory as well as primarily transactional, right? So when I say transactional, every cases that an user raises and gets resolved, he has to mandatorily provide a CSAT. Otherwise, he would not be able to raise another grievance or probably raise another request in the system, right? Or it can be periodic, right? Probably once in a quarter or probably once in 6 months. You want to conduct a survey how HR services has been overall performing or the facilities have been performing overall. So you will be able to primarily manage that. And for every HR executive or the facility executive who has been doing the services, right, he can also be provided with silver badges, gold badges based on his actions that he performs. For example, if he has got CSAT received, he will get a bonus point, right, which might be if his CSAT is above average, he will get some X number of points. If it is extremely satisfactory or extremely bad, he can get both positive, high positive points or high negative points. So based on the accumulation of these points that he is getting, he will be able to be awarded with badges, and you will also know that what is his current ranking amongst his peers. All right. So this is primarily what the overall Summit platform offers, where it can extend beyond your standard IT, where it provides a completely consumerized experience for your organization and its employees, where they don't have to run, as Raj said, they don't have to run from pillar to post. They can have a one-stop shop portal about all their grievance and requests are addressed in a visible and transparent manner, right? In a transparent manner, they will be able to see what they primarily have. So that is where I would like to take a pause, and based on which, if there is any questions that are there, I would like to take that. And Tanushi, can you help me moderate that and read out?
Yeah, Tanushi, before that, thanks, Rishi.
Yep.
Tanushi, can we have the poll running now?
Sure, just a second. So, hello everyone, we will be launching the polling question. I would request everybody to stay attentive and answer, please. The question is, are you looking for any of the following solutions in the next 6 to 12 months? Options are IT service management, enterprise service management, IT asset management, all of the above and none of the above. We will run this poll for 10 seconds more. I would request everybody to please answer. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Rajashekharan and Rishi, for the wonderful and insightful session. Now we are open for question and answer.
Tanu, do you want to read out the questions?
Yes, please. We have first question from Mr. Nafiz Sheikh. Is asking, does approval workflow consider weekend too?
Yes, it can be configured to consider that, right? It can be configured with some amount of JavaScript. It can be considered to the. So generally, it is primarily the number of calendar days. It was calendar days is what it will consider, but with a small tweaking, it can consider weekends too.
Thanks, Ishi. We also have one more question from Nafiz Sheikh. In which version of Summit AI we will get the executive dashboard which was shown here?
Right. Primarily, anything above Sierra version, you will get it. Summit Sierra version. Above that, you will be able to get it. Primarily, by default, it is provided as an option. Right. Standard executive dashboards are available. In addition to that, you can also create your custom executive dashboard. Also, it is not that whatever is available out of the box you have to use. You can use. You can create your own custom dashboards also. And today's latest version that we have released is Tahoe release, which is also comes integrated with Power BI dashboards also, which can be integrated with Power BI, right?
Perfect. Thank you. So next question is from, hi, is there any process that whenever any user get a notification mail to approval any CR or SR, will he or she also get the attachment with notification for review purpose before approving or rejecting?
In mail, generally, it is not provided. It is primarily the approval, rejection option or refer back options are provided. Generally, in the mail, what happens is we can provide an embed a link to the portal page, right? And based on which this can be viewed, the attachments can be viewed from. In addition to that, the mobile app also provides an option to view the entire record. It doesn't have to necessarily get hooked up to a laptop or primarily a laptop or to any desktop system. He can always look at those SR and CRs primarily from his mobile app.
Thank you, Rishi. Our next question is, in which version of Summit AI will we get the executive dashboard which was shown here? Sorry, this question is repeated. You've already answered.
I think there is a question from Pradeep Thakur. Is there any separate subscription required for Summit AI or existing subscription would work? Right, the subscriptions are same, but however, you would need to have the respective analyst licenses to be procured. So, if at all you have an existing Summit system, on top of it, if you want to have an HR tenant or a facilities tenant, the appropriate technician or probably the executive analyst licenses should be purchased, based on which those subscriptions will start working. And if you want to manage between the same licenses, you can create a separate tenant and consume the existing licenses into that particular work group. So that is something you can do. So there is next question again from Pradeep was how many tenants can be configured? So there is no limitations to the tenant. It purely depends to the number of licenses that you procure, right? So there is no primary limitation in terms of even if you buy 5 licenses, you can configure 20 tenants, right? So it doesn't matter. There is no ceiling or license tag to tenant level configuration, right? So Cindy new version is primarily coming up by Q2, right? We will have the launch of the new version, but Cindy today is available. The current version is available. The newer version will primarily come by Q2 2022.
There is a question from Manish Gupta. The question is there any process that whenever any user gets a notification mail to approve any CR or SR, he or she also get the attachment with notification for review purpose?
Yeah, I answered that question. I'll answer it again. So primarily, yes, this is available primarily, as I told you, through email. The attachment does not come in. Primarily, you can have the email coming in, and there can be an hyperlink which will be embedded, which will open the service portal where you'll be able to view the attachment. And there is also a mobile app available. Not necessarily he always has to come up to the portal. He has got a mobile app where he'll be able to view the SR and accordingly view the attachment and accordingly approve. He can view the details of the SR, and based on which he can approve, reject from his mobile app also.
So, okay, Rishi, another one, category-based escalation metrics mail notification is available. Category-based escalation metrics mail notification.
So it's primarily based on category and priority. The SLAs or escalations are primarily based on your SLA metrics, and based on which is what is
Okay, and I see there is one hand raise, Anil Kumar Nair. Do you want to, you can unmute and ask the question, or you can actually put it in the chat window or the Q&A box. Nafis, we hope we answered your question about the executive dashboard, which you have again typed it. I think we've answered it. If there is anything else, if you need to know more about it, feel free to type it. Rishi from Anil Kumar Nair, what is the use case of this tool for finance teams? Do we have the use case list mentioned on the website, or for HR, finance, and admin teams?
Yes, we do have primarily the finance use cases. Right, can be a simple a payment request form to a supplier, or probably primarily a reimbursement claim of an employee, right? Something your dealers, vendors, right, can put up primarily the request or invoices for requesting for payment, which can go through, be validated, and based on which you can get approved and then get processed with your financial systems.
Yeah, and Anil, we could also set up a separate demo for you to showcase the HR and finance use cases, which we have executed in, where we have implemented in various customer locations. We can do that as well. We can showcase the entire capabilities and also showcase the specific use cases which we've implemented for our customers. Team, anything else? We have 3 more minutes left. Okay, so if there is anything, just always feel free to write to us. You have all the email IDs and the contact details mentioned on the screen. And once again, want to say thanks for taking time out to join this webinar. And we really appreciate your time, and we hope you find the webinar very useful. And we would also like to get connected with you to just showcase further capabilities or any other interest areas you may have it. Thanks again for each and everyone. Thanks, Rishi. Thanks, Tanu.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rishi. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank each one of you for taking out your time for the session today. We will be sharing the recording of this session via email with all of you. We wish you a great day ahead. Stay safe and take care of yourself. Thank you once again. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.